Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. I'm Simona, and I'm joined by my co-hosts. So let's start to my right.
Amanda.
Katie.
Lewis.
Joe.
And Annalisa.
And today we are talking about the 1999 rom-com 10 Things I Hate About You. This is Annalisa's pick for our rom-com series. So the movie stars Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's directed by Gail Junger. And is that how you say her name? Or that person's name? I don't know if it's a man or a woman.
It's
Gail
actually
Junger?
Younger.
Younger? No, is it? I don't know.
It's Gail Junger.
Okay, and this is loosely based on the Shakespeare play Taming of the Shrew. So I'm going to have Annalisa talk about the film a bit more and why she picked it.
Tell us how the shrew was tamed.
So Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew focuses on the courtship between Petruchio and Caterina, and their marriage. And Petruchio uses psychological and physical torment to kind of bring his wife, the shrew, to heel, including like starving her and keeping water away from her. And Bianca is also the sister's name in the play, and she is seen as this ideal woman and the perfect woman. And Cambio, who we see in Cameron in the movie, also pretends to be her tutor. And yeah, the entire thing is supposed to be comedic. It's a pretty misogynistic play.
What is he teaching her in the play?
Classics.
Yeah,
he's our classics teacher. And if we look at like an early modern context, men were essentially allowed to do whatever they wanted to their wives for the most part. Like, you can't just like starve your wife and torture her. It's the gender dynamics between men and women are really complicated.
Yeah.
But it's essentially women are property.
Yeah.
They were their father's property, and then when they get married, they're their husband's property.
I'm doing some very perfunctory research here, but apparently a lot of scholars believe even during the time it was considered a bit of a controversial play.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I think that also goes to show that while there may have been societal norms, it doesn't mean everyone adhered to them. And for them, like, I think because even in our modern times, there are people that hold certain views regarding gender and gender dynamics, even though we consider ourselves more advanced socially in the way we think. So I think it is good to know that, because people were people. So I think there would have been people that said, like, I don't think every man was like, okay, well, I'm going to starve and deprive my wife of water. There's more nuance to people, too, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's something in the movie that they delve into the complexities of being a teenager, and the characters that have these traditional tropes. Like Katie said, Bianca's the ditzy blonde, but there's more nuance to the characters. Yeah. And I think having that does make it more true to the source material. And we were talking about the use of sarcasm and comedy, and this like biting wit really calls back to Elizabethan language and Shakespearean insults that are fun but harsh at the same time.
Yeah.
And before we recorded, Annalisa was saying how a lot of people will know a Shakespearean insult.
Yes, I think everyone knows at least one.
So I kind of love...
Can you give us some examples?
Well,
I bite my thumb at you, sir.
that was the one I was going to say.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I love the expression zounds, which is said a lot in Romeo and Juliet. It means by God's wounds. So I just love that, zounds.
One of my favorites is also from Romeo and Juliet, where, because everyone's read that play, right? And where Juliet's father is talking about Tybalt, he's like, he's a saucy boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that line. I say that at home. I'm like, ooh, he's a saucy boy.
I really like in Macbeth right before the kid gets murked when the guy just yells out, "What, you egg?"
There was one Shakespearean. I gotta find it though.
Things like that. And I think Shakespeare has a way of describing characters that is very nuanced, and he has a very interesting style of writing. And if you look at plays like Winter's Tale, where he has King Leontes losing his mind, so his lines are fractured, and that is fascinating to look at. If you look at a play like this too, they feel really real and can acknowledge that, but Joe's right. It is a pretty controversial play. Like I said, you can't just starve your wife.
No, it's frowned upon.
Clever.
Can't poison my husband, can't starve my wife. What can I do?
Do either of you have a favorite Shakespearean insult?
I didn't even know there were Shakespearean insults.
It's been a while since I looked at a Shakespearean play, but there's this book, this romance novel by Tessa Dare called The Duchess Deal, and the main character, the Duke, all of his insults are insults from Shakespearean plays. So he goes through all of them, and it's great. But I can't remember.
That might be how I spend the next week.
Yeah.
I'll look up a bunch of them and then just go around to people
This
and
one's
saying.
this one's actually from Taming of the Shrew, and it's "Away, you 3-inch fool."
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I took a whole class dedicated to Coriolanus. So I finally found it. Is that more of your conversation would infect my brain.
Oh,
That is
Okay.
brilliant.
Good.
Oh my
So
god, I gotta
I'm
use
a
that.
big fan of Coriolanus.
Yeah.
More of your conversation would infect my brain. Oh my god, I love that.
Oh God, I love that one.
My wife's a
From
hobby
As You
horse?
Like It.
Shh, don't say that. That's a scandal right there. The tartness of his face sours ripe grapes.
Richard III has some evil
Oh,
ones.
God, yeah.
Henry IV and Richard III have some really good ones.
Well, that's Richard III is just like
Scathing.
a bitter play.
Yeah.
'Cause he's a
Here's
bitter little
a
man.
guy who sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
That's because in college it's a
Easy
requirement
fat
for
goods.
any arts and lit major to take an entire Shakespeare class,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up falling in love with early modern England, so that became my thing for a really long time, and I was able to present my paper on 2 different Shakespeare plays at the Early Modern English Literature Conference.
That's cool.
Yes. My title's a pun, though, and I love it so much. I came up with it at 3 a.m. So my paper was on A Winter's Tale in King Henry VIII and the male desire for asexual reproduction and how women are icky and evil. And so...
Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh, bummer.
So the male desire for asexual reproduction is called parthenogenesis, right? And so my title is Parthenogenesis. Isn't that a building in Greece? Thank you. I had to change it for the conference. It was really sad.
That's great.
Why, they would have gotten a kick out of that.
I love it so much. But yeah.
I was trying to break down the word now that you just said it.
Parthenogenesis?
Yeah, yeah. No, I know what it means, but in my head, as I was breaking it down into what it actually means, like, oh, that's really cool. That's really, yeah.
I do also attribute Titus Andronicus as being the first your mom joke, where it's like the villain, I have done thy mother. And I'm just like, your mom. All the time.
Yeah, I think the movie does really well at bringing that feeling, that like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
To,
Scathing.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
insult. And Kat is the best at it.
I love
Yeah.
I love the scene when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character Cameron is being introduced to every one of the social groups on campus, and
What
there's
a wide array of humans there are.
and they're like white Rastafarians. And I love
Bunch of
in
white
the
kids.
class when the guy goes, "Yeah, man," the teacher says, "Don't even get me started on you too." And it's
Yeah.
just so fun. I love the teacher.
Mr.
How, like,
Morgan.
Yeah, who just
Played
cuts everyone
by a
down.
man known as Daryl Chill Mitchell.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw his name in the credits. I was like, that guy's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
He was kind of the opposite of chill, though.
He was.
Yeah.
Very aggressive.
Yeah.
He was. It was
He
amazing.
wasn't going to take those teens' shenanigans at all.
No, because he's dealing with these like privileged, stuck-up
Yeah.
white kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen their school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're at Hogwarts.
Because that's we were talking about high schools on the West Coast earlier before this, and my high school didn't look like a castle, but I went to high school a pretty short distance away from where they are, and it is like that where you have the different sections. And we were talking about why are there cowboys in Seattle? There just are. I don't know why. I don't get it. My high school had its own little section of cowboys.
That's
It really
for
is.
Famous
sure.
cowboys.
And like they had, so my school was also pretty fancy. They had a building for 4-H and any of the agricultural kids. There was a metalworking shop, a mechanic shop, wood shop, and so this wasn't out of the realm of possibility. It just didn't look like a castle. It looked like a high school,
Yeah.
Right.
just with like a ton of outer
With a
buildings.
beautiful view of the water too.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. That
and
shot at the end, I'm like, wow.
it really is a high school, and it's in Tacoma, Washington. It's Stadium High School, and it's nicknamed the Brown Castle. But it's really a high school.
Wow.
Nice field too. Wow.
Okay, the bleachers.
Yeah, with the bleachers.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Mm-hmm.
Probably talk about the bleacher scene.
They have a whole, like,
That is one of my
amphitheater
favorite
going
scenes,
on.
and I think that's probably the scene in the film that's like the most well known.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and the poem. Like,
Yes.
It's been like reproduced in parody
Yeah.
movies and just yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
He's singing to her, right? It's
Yeah.
very nice.
Mhm.
Why are the police chasing him?
Oh, they're the security from the school, though. He's not supposed to be doing that.
He, like,
hijacked the
hijacked-
PA
yeah.
system.
Right, but like, let the kid finish his song. I say
Be fair,
kid
he's
loosely. Me and Joe
lip-syncing.
thought he
Yeah.
was like 30.
I can't believe he was
Yeah.
only 20 when he made
Yeah.
this. That boy, puberty hit that boy like
Yeah.
a ton of bricks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also given his reputation in the school and the rumors about him, I'm not at
definitely-
all surprised
yeah.
that the security guards of the school were like,
They didn't ask questions. They
No.
just immediately were like,
Yeah.
just get him.
Yeah.
Just go.
But they were smiling as they were trying to chase him down.
Because it's
so.
hysterical.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like his solution because he embarrasses her.
Yeah.
It's like, go to the party, she gets drunk, she hits her head.
I got
And
some thoughts.
First
on
off,
tequila.
I was
Yeah.
watching a video about like some errors in the movie.
Mhm.
That was one of them. Is how is she hitting her head on a chandelier when she's dancing on this table, doing all these like dance moves, like going at it, and there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
no chandelier up there. Like you don't see it. She's so far away from the chandelier. How the hell did she hit her head? Sorry.
Yeah.
How the heck did she hit her head
Well, I didn't
on
know.
the chandelier?
Because doesn't she like do a jump up move? Like at first she's on her
I'm not
knees.
sure, but they
and
said
then
that
she-
cuts for 2 seconds.
she
and
is on her knees for most of it. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
when
and
she
then she like
gets
jumps
back.
up.
Save the last dance or 10 things I hated
She
about
didn't
you.
slave any dance.
But yeah, I
Which Julia Stiles movie am I watching?
I was like, I didn't catch that until someone was like, how? Where's the chandelier?
Tequila makes you do things, man.
Also, how did that kid not get in trouble for that party? He throws flyers in the high school saying free beer, and it's
was-
like,
Well, they manufactured those.
Yeah.
He just wanted a nice evening in
With some free
yeah, but
Yeah.
he shouldn't have kicked Michael out of the group. Like
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
how did no teacher report that?
But did anyone think that teacher was? I mean, I know he's supposed to be weird.
Mr. Morgan.
The
What
one
teacher?
the one whose house
Bogey
they.
Lowenstein?
No, that's a
He's
That's
a
a
student.
student.
That's
Yeah,
a,
he just
He's one
looks
of
50.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I was like, why does he look 50?
It's the hormones in the milk.
because okay, that okay. Because no, because I honestly thought this teacher is having like a candlelit brie dinner with a few young boys. I'm like, is no one going to talk
That's
about
the
this?
slug club.
He's the student, okay.
Yeah. It's still
That's
it's
funny,
still weird
Simona.
though. It's still weird.
Because
It is
very
in
like
my
fancy boy club,
defense,
isn't
though,
it?
I mean, I know we can't use actual teenagers, but that guy looks like he's ready
I
to do a
would-
PhD program.
Yeah.
So
no,
like,
David Krumholtz too is not looking
Yeah.
young in the.
no,
Yes.
no, he is not.
It didn't help that he dressed like an accountant either.
He
Like,
did, yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
so
he's,
weird.
he's an Ivy. He's one of that group though,
Yeah.
where they dress like that. I went to high school with kids that dressed like that.
The
To be fair, I
preppy-
did also go to high school with a bunch of kids that look like they should not still
Yeah.
be in school.
Yeah.
There were people
So
that
dumb.
came to school in like full ass suits.
What?
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, you never had any suit kids?
No.
I did.
Oh, we didn't have suit
We had
kids.
suit kids.
Oh yeah, we had suit
No,
We had
kids.
sweater
I-
vest kids.
I-
we didn't have
Okay.
suit kids.
Yeah. Yeah, people were
I-
convinced he was an undercover cop.
And they weren't in
Oh, we had a-
ROTC.
Pretty good.
No,
They were not in ROTC.
I mean, I had.
No.
I mean, I had
No.
kids part of ROTC that they would come dressed in their uniform.
They had
but
to. Yeah.
I honestly do not recall ever see. I mean, there were well-dressed students in my school, and there were, but like I never honestly recall anyone seeing someone like in a suit in my
Suit,
high school.
Bow tie.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
bow ties.
Yeah.
Bow tie.
Even in college, there were like some suit
what a
kids.
Well,
Distinguished
college,
gentleman.
in college, different people are, they're doing their own thing.
But yeah, high
But
school.
high school, for some reason, I feel like, no, I don't know. That's,
No, I didn't have any.
But thank you for clarifying that he's a student. For some reason, I thought he was a teacher.
He's also passing out cigars. It's like this guy's about to start a cult with these teachers. It's a good thing that this party's gonna break that up because they're about to put on some Adidas and go somewhere.
Did anyone else think, like, I always think when I see scenes where, like, people are trashing a house with a party, like the poor parents. Granted, his parents have a lot of money, so they probably, but like, I just think, like, oh my God, the parents are gonna have to clean this stuff up.
The parents are probably 90 and senile.
One of my favorite
don't
scenes.
even live in Seattle. This is the guest house. This is the vacation home.
I would think that anybody with a house that big would have
just
money
afford it.
enough to have servants.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking with my middle class mind.
Well, that's it.
That's
One of
what
my
it
favorite
is.
scenes is when the kids start fighting.
make a deal
and then
with
he's
some
like,
of
could
the
you
kids, like,
please
if
take
you
it
pass
outside?
out
And
here,
they
you get to help
break
clean
through
it up.
Yeah.
the French doors.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
Thank you. It's like, take it outside. But can we talk about, I call him the douche. I know that's not his name.
Joey?
But,
Joey?
But,
I hate that guy.
but that's what I'm going to call him.
Joey?
Can we talk about his modeling
What
career?
a tool.
Oh my God.
And like all the poses
God, at
and
the party where he's like, swimsuit.
Yeah, showing her the difference between the
Underwear.
swimsuit and the
Yeah.
underwear. Look,
And like,
like,
There's no
what?
difference.
He's very proud of himself.
And that's when she realizes, like,
Yeah.
crap, I made a mistake.
But I think she
Yeah.
realizes that. I think what I love about Bianca, and I know that, I'm assuming, Lou, this was part of your notes. She's supposed to be the typical dumb blonde, but I think,
This is what I brought
but from the
up.
very
She even
beginning,
dumber.
she shows that she has depth and intelligence.
Oh,
She's sort of, she is. I'm assuming she's one of the popular girls. I don't know if that's ever really established.
oh yeah.
But
That's
she
dumb.
sort of defies that stereotype, and I like when he says, you know, oh, I was going. What did she say? Going for like, how do you describe it? Oh, and she goes, oh, pensive. He goes, oh, I was going for like
Thoughtful.
thoughtful. And
And
she
the
has like
face is
that
like-
slight look, and then she quickly changes it when she realizes like this guy's an
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah.
So I think she realizes it, but I think also as someone who wants to be accepted, which I think is one of the nicer themes of this film, it was like Kat even, I know, are we jumping too far ahead when Kat has
Go
her
ahead.
discussion?
We can talk about the relationship between the two sisters.
Yeah, because like Kat very much sees Bianca as someone like you're airheaded ditzy, you have like you basically have nothing of value except for your looks and you're trying to fit in.
Well, she's called vapid how many times?
Yeah.
But I think it proves that no, she has depth, she has thoughtfulness, wanting to sort of enjoy being a teenager is not being vapid. And one of the things that bothers me about Katarina, sorry, Kat, is that she has gripes, but I was trying to analyze her life. Like, I know the mom is not present, so I don't know how much that impacted the way she is, but it's like, but honestly, you have a good father. Yes, he is overprotective with reason, but he is a caring man. You live in a gorgeous house. Not to like poo-poo people. I'm not saying because you have money you don't have problems, but like, what really
Woman
is?
of
Well, that's it.
So-
Mr.
What
Morgan
really
calls
is
her
your
out for
gripe?
that.
You know,
Right,
it's
same
like.
thing.
But see, like the thing is, though, I think with Kat is that her gripe isn't so much with her life, but it's with the people that she's surrounded by
Yeah.
in high school.
Yeah.
And we find out later on,
Yeah.
especially finding out that Bianca is going to prom with Joey. She tells
Yeah.
Bianca that she had gone out with Joey and she had sex way too, like, what she felt was way too early because everybody else was doing
Yeah.
it. And when she told him, I don't remember the exact
That she wasn't comfortable, she didn't want to do that anymore.
anymore, he turned on her essentially
Yeah.
and then saw like the society of the high school or whatever as a one big phony fest. And that's where her gripes come from.
Yeah.
Well, I think with Bianca too, when you were talking about, she is an intelligent person,
Yeah.
but she masks it,
Yes.
and that's very relatable as a teenager. I don't know about anyone else, but I didn't always share my test grades because I didn't want people to see that I got 100.
Yeah,
What's
because
the other way
I
around?
was
I
with
didn't
the-
share
I was
my
with
test grades.
I was
didn't
with
want people to
the
see I
semi,
got
like with
60.
math, I was always with the dumb kids. So we had a system for our tests in that class.
I used to always hate though when
Cheating
teachers
system.
thought they're doing a good thing by
Can't get
bringing
me now.
attention to you. Like, I still remember I had this exam in one of my English classes, and it was I think a Shakespeare, or was it an exam on Shakespeare? And I did very well. Like, I was the only one who got 100. But what I hated was my teacher said, and only one person got a 100, but I'm not saying who they are. So I'm
When
like,
everybody knows you.
Yeah.
yes. And they were like, Simona, what did you get? It was Simona. Like, show us your paper. And I just sat there, like, not saying anything. And I'm like, that's the worst thing that you could say. Because, I mean, I had people that disliked me solely because I did well. I mean, I wasn't a genius academically. I had, but because I did well, that was an excuse like, I hate you now.
It's putting blood in the water.
Yeah, so like the teacher says, and only one person did well, and like they're practically like waving. I'm like, and I feel like saying, stop. You think you're doing me a favor? You're not. So I understand that too, like where you want to mask. I mean, I didn't have a bad experience in high school, but I definitely, because there were people that were smart, but they were the actual popular people. Like I remember when we found out who was the valedictorian.
Yeah.
They literally said like, oh, how could she be it? Why isn't so-and-so? And I remember saying, well, obviously she deserves to be valedictorian just because you don't think she should be.
Yeah, they don't really rig valedictorian.
No.
Yeah, but it was like, I remember feeling so bad because like, oh, well, we didn't expect her. Why is she the valedictorian? And I remember the other one who ended up being salutatorian, which she was very arrogant. Like her whole graduation speech, I was like saying, okay, stop it now. We get it. Everyone wanted her to be valedictorian. She was the it girl. So I kind of.
You're always gonna get backlash on whoever they choose. It's never gonna, whatever. Prom queen.
Well, that's a popularity
It's always gonna be.
contest.
Like,
But valedictorian's not.
In our school, it
Yeah,
was
this is
more
actual
it was
praise.
popularity, but that guy deserved it.
Oh,
He was
it was
popular.
only popularity.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And they made,
remember.
like,
popularity.
The guy who
contest.
won
I don't-
ours thought
yeah,
he was
they
like
did
the
not do
reincarnation
that.
of Cleopatra.
Yeah, I don't remember.
In my
that.
prom,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had an entire
now an
like
exotic
pep
dancer.
rally dedicated
he's
to
cool.
crowning people, and they had decked
I love
out the gym and created like a red
So
carpet. It was insane. Yeah.
And this is relevant because in the film they do the
They
prom.
do go to
so-
prom, and we were talking about how like over the top their prom is. However, mine they rented out an entire country club.
Well,
Really?
In my high school, they rented out a hotel
ballroom.
on West Point.
Oh, is
Oh.
it there? Because that's where everyone seems to have theirs around here.
I remember my guidance counselor
Wow,
being
you're-
disappointed in me because I didn't go. And she was like, you missed such a great time or whatever. I was like,
But if you wouldn't have enjoyed it, it wouldn't have been a good time for you.
yeah, I was like,
Okay.
but I remember
I-
being made to feel crappy because I never went.
I went. It's just a slightly fancier Sweet 16.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh, my Sweet 16 is way better.
So I'm really glad I
Yeah, 'cause
didn't
it's
go
only
to
people
my
you
senior
like,
prom
so.
because all
I got
of
carried in on a coffin, too.
the jocks and cheerleaders and whoever was supposedly like the big names on campus kind of a thing showed up to the venue drunk. And they trashed the ballroom, and they single-handedly kicked us out, got us kicked out of West Point.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
Kids these days.
insane.
Or
I got
those
warned
days.
that someone was going to
Yeah,
spike
we
the
did.
punch, and when they did, we all got warned about it, and I was like, okay, cool.
See, we didn't have food at our prom. Like, that's a normal thing for food to be there, but we didn't have that. There were no drinks or anything like that.
Yeah.
There was like a
There's
coat
food at
check.
the prom? Oh, I don't know.
But
Normally you get like a little
No,
buffet kind of thing.
Oh.
was what it
Beforehand.
was, or like you get like
Yeah.
cake or something. I don't know.
No, you get. We got like a
Yeah, we
sit
got
down
a
dinner.
sit down dinner too.
Oh, I never went, so I don't know.
We did not.
I don't
We
know.
spent all the money on the venue.
So so a lot of like the thoughts on the prom, like I found it really funny. I mean, like it's true. Like one could argue the father is overprotective, but like he says, he deals with teen pregnancies. It's a legitimate fear.
Placenta every day.
Yes, yeah. But I love when he puts that belly because I kind of feel like that was a thing, like in
Oh, I think
school.
it's
Like I
hilarious.
kind of feel like in school they would do that.
I never
No,
had that.
no.
No.
Because my
Maybe
high
in a New York school. I don't know.
Wait a minute,
I-
did you just insult New York?
I'm not from here. I'll do whatever I please.
When my sister was in high school, they had to do the babies.
We didn't get to do
That wasn't a
that.
thing for my high school.
Yeah, they didn't do that for me.
That's
they
only
didn't do that
for,
in
um,
my high school. either.
That was only for
Awful.
home ec.
Oh, see, I took.
Oh.
In ours.
I don't remember what the name of the class. Early childhood education, I think,
We
was the
didn't
name
have
of one of
that.
my electives. and I got to teach kindergarten for a semester.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I think that was at
that was fun, but that's
Yeah.
like as close as we got to something like that.
That was
Yeah.
at our vocational school. Like they had BOCES here. We had
Oh,
one called
okay.
Forsyth Tech,
Oh,
which they had
yeah.
a built on-site daycare where
Wow, we had a
okay.
block schedule, and I had so many credits already that I was just
Because
like
I kind
filling
of
it
feel
with
like,
random
with the, like when I
things.
saw the pregnancy belly, I kind of feel like that was a thing.
Not
Like-
in my not in my health class in high school.
Yeah, maybe at
it's usually like an
things
actor
change.
thing. Like they usually
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
it underneath the costume to make themselves look.
Yeah,
One
something
of my
something
favorite
about it.
scenes, though,
Yeah,
is her having to wear the belly.
for a while, and
Yeah.
then I love Heath Ledger, like who knocked up your
Your
sister.
sister.
I forgot a lot of this movie between the last time I watched it now, but that perfectly in my memory. Just
Yeah.
Because I love how
Yeah.
casually
Burns
he
in.
says it, and
Yeah.
he just like walks right out, and the look that Bianca gives him, just.
What's the humor? And it's just great.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about Douche? I'm gonna call him Douche. I know he's Joey, but I'm gonna call him Douche.
That's
When he
fine.
shows up and the father like just slams the door.
I
great.
have thoughts about that too, actually.
Okay.
What made Joey think he was going to prom with Bianca?
Because
Because he's
a
entitled
jerk.
and he's
Yeah.
a douche.
He's
a
like,
model.
well, obviously she wants me.
He
Yeah.
deserves the hottest girl.
Like he didn't,
right?
yeah, he didn't ask her.
But
There
it's
was
the,
no-
the
Yeah.
expectation that she would
And-
be over the moon to go to
He's
prom.
got an
Exactly.
ego.
And I think it was also, I think he was banking on Patrick fulfilling his end of the deal to make sure that he got her to prom
Which he
too.
did.
Because like that's one of the things how eventually Kat finds out because he sees Bianca dancing.
That was another thing
Yeah,
that's
we can.
messed up is why does he go up to Heath Ledger and say that? Heath Ledger has no control over Bianca.
Yeah.
Well, because he's vindictive.
So that was messed up. That whole thing didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
But I get it. 'cause
How
it
else
led
would
to,
Kat
you
find
know.
out? She has to
It's
find
the
out.
third act breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the happiest moment of her life, she finds out you're being paid to see me.
Yeah.
It's like it's the bill. You go up there and wham.
Yeah, and then you have that moment of separation and angst.
You have that like amazing, super dramatic moment where his hands are on the banister and he's just dramatically watching her leave. Love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's
And then
Yeah.
you get the great scene of her reading her poem, and she starts crying, and then it's the reconciliation.
Which I don't
It's-
think, I remember reading, I don't know if her crying was actually scripted,
It
if she was
wasn't
supposed
scripted.
to, yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't scripted. I think there was like personal stuff going on in Julia
her, yeah.
Child's life at the
Styles.
time. Styles. Thank you.
Not child.
Life that was going on, and
Yeah.
the emotional.
What a twist that
build-up.
movie was.
Yeah.
Julian Childs, wasn't it?
Julie
That'd be
and
great.
Julia.
Let's do it. Let's
That'd be
make that
awesome.
movie.
Yeah.
Just the buildup of it, of like
Yeah.
what was going on, and that scene just kind of like just
It was
boiled over. But it's
amazing, yeah.
perfect, like thing to I think just enhance the
Let's-
scene.
I like for the scene that I was the dramatic one where he's on the banister. I like that her sister comes up too though, because she sees that her sister's visibly upset.
And she gives him that stare, like that
Yeah.
judgment, without
Yeah.
saying anything.
With my sister.
Yeah.
Because their relationship is tumultuous.
Yeah.
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 And I mean, they're sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's normal. When I saw on TikTok the other day that your sister is your best friend, but they can also treat you like
Yeah.
that's the dynamic usually. But I think for them that I don't know. It meant a lot that her sister came out too.
And I think it's also a lot of it is, there's a big thing in this film is what is not communicated.
Mm-hmm.
And how, and I think that's part of the problem. I know you wouldn't have a film without these, but that's always one of the frustrating things where if you simply, like, if Kat would have, for example, told Bianca, okay, look, this is why I have reservations about you
Yeah.
dating Joey. This has been my experience with him. And I know you can't have a film without that angst and without, but it's sort of one of the frustrating, because I know, like, if my sister was about to, and I, like, okay, listen, I know this guy, this is why I think you should not get involved. A lot of this would not
Yeah.
happen. So a lot of it is, like, what is unspoken, what is not said. Like, Patrick, yes, it was that he takes money to, like, go out with her.
Yeah.
But at that point, he's not doing it for the money anymore. And granted, I don't know if he would have said, yes, originally I took the money because I didn't care,
but then,
if it would have
like,
made a whole lot of a difference to her at that point.
So I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
like, how would you feel if you started
Yeah.
dating this guy that
Yeah.
you were falling in love with, and he out of the blue tells her, "Oh yeah, I started dating you on a bet."
It wouldn't end well.
No, it
Yeah.
would not
No matter
end
what,
well.
it's not going to end
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the whole, like, not telling your sister about Joey and that thing, like, that's a very realistic thing.
No, it definitely is.
And I like
Yeah.
that argument between them where she does finally say, and she's like, I could have formed my own opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You should have just told me.
Exactly.
And I think it also goes to show how she's infantilized by the father and the older sister. Like, and I understand she's 15, but at the same time, you should know your daughter well enough to know, like, okay, she's level-headed enough. Yes, she is a teenager, but I don't think she's going to be that, like.
And she's still your daughter.
Yeah, like, and I think that's the
Yeah.
problem, is that they belittle her and they infantilize her.
Well, she throws that in their face a lot, though.
Right.
Yeah.
How
So I
naive
mean,
they
like,
think she is.
part of that though is also Bianca's own fault too, because she
Yeah.
fully impersonates that.
She plays into it.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
ditzy blonde trope.
Can we
when
talk about
in
her friend?
fact, she's
Oh, Chastity?
She-
Gabrielle
Gabrielle
Union is one of the most
What a
beautiful women in
name.
the world,
Yeah.
but she
Yeah.
does an amazing Mean Girl.
Chastity Church, I just found that.
oh my god.
But I love it. Joey goes to pick up Bianca, and then she's like his second pick,
Yeah.
or he's desperate, so he goes and gets her, and she still is awful to Bianca.
Mhm.
But she's just awful throughout the entire movie, though. She ditches her. She's
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
fake friend,
Yes.
which everyone has, or had one of those in
I
high
had
school.
one of those. Yep.
But yeah, that's Gabrielle Union.
What
Still
happened with
looks
your fake
as
friend?
young.
What's the story?
The story. Oh, she lied to me about being my friend and then tried to play it off like she wasn't, like that she didn't say the lies and all that stuff. And when when I got angry at her for it and wasn't talking to her and she tried to hand me something and I was ignoring her and she said fine and then walked away. Yeah.
That's great. That sounds very high school. Yeah.
Mhm. That was actually in middle school.
Oh wow.
So yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Everyone's
telling you,
got
they
that
think that
awful
high
fake
school's supposed to be
friends.
the roughest time. Middle school.
Middle
man.
school for me
Middle
is actually
school is
worse
the
than high
worst.
school.
My
Oh
God.
my god.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Nasty children.
Yeah.
Middle school's the worst.
I met the
It's your
nastiest
awkward
people.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
the nastiest people in high school during middle school because I had moved here and I did like 5th grade and I went straight to 6th grade. And it was like,
As
or
most do.
North Carolina, sorry. And like, so many just weird moments with kids and I was just like,
Yeah.
there was one time I think a girl like, I was like hanging out with a lot and stuff like that. She made like a new friend with a redhead.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a little kind of like butthurt about it.
You were replaced.
I was like, I was like,
you get
The
one of
token redhead.
these.
that's what it was. I was so upset. I was more upset. I was like, I see. I've been replaced
Yeah.
by another redhead. I'm like, it's going down.
I absolutely
Should've
like
dyed
my
her hair in the
favorite
middle.
side couple in this movie is Michael and Kat's friend
Mandela.
Mandela. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great.
I love it. It's just the greatest little side plot though.
Uh-huh.
And buying her the dress and leaving the note because she's obsessed with William Shakespeare.
She was like, we're
Yeah.
involved.
It's great. It's so sweet and so like he's like the exact opposite of Joey
Yeah.
in that it's very wholesome and very like I really like you and I really want to take you to prom and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had very little, like, few interactions in the film, but the fact that he knows about her love of Shakespeare means he's paying attention.
Oh, exactly.
You know, so I like that too, and I like what she says, where is Will? And Kat says, please don't tell me you're moving on to hallucinations now.
There's always like one person in high school that's a little too obsessed with like a celebrity
Yeah.
or something.
You mean
like
the Swifties?
I meant the girls that have like
'Cause they're on the
Chris
run.
Evans as their
Oh, yeah.
screensaver or their background on their phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or write fan fiction about themselves.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, someone should have something.
Yeah, that's Buffy
I
though.
was,
Like
I was
We're
bought by One
gonna put
Direction.
that in the corner.
Amanda.
We're gonna put all of that in the corner.
It's
Those
so-
Wattpad days,
it's so
am I right?
When we were over your house and the guy was doing the Harry Potter fan pyramid.
oh yes.
It was
The
so
iceberg.
funny because I was like, I'm not like that. And then I realized I posted a reel on Instagram where I'm showing my Harry Funkos and all my books, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
I did see that.
I saw that.
and I was like,
Also, you posted a video of like the wand while you were.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But that's
okay.
they make wands that like shoot fire now. That's cool.
They
I
do?
want one so bad.
Yeah.
I watched a video where people were like shooting them at each other and trying to fight each other, and I'm like, Brian.
That's
I was like,
Put, a little
that's a
piece of
Christmas
paper
gift
in it,
right
and
now.
There's like a spark in it.
Look, take a trip over to PA, get some Roman candles.
That's what he said. He's like, are they like Roman candles? I'm like, no, I think the ones, because we actually took a look of what they're made of and stuff like that. He's like, it won't actually hurt you, these ones. I was like, I'm like, no, we gotta go get the other ones. Just be in the Queen Street, just. You can't.
But it is very relatable, especially when you're in high school. Like I was having this conversation with my sister about how when you're in high school, the adults in your life make it feel like it's make or break. Like this will like be the like term in your life's path from that moment on. And you become so fearful of failure because like, oh my God, I'm never gonna make it in life. And then later on, you're an adult and you're like, okay, well that was a distant, if not unpleasant memory. And
that wasn't my experience in high school with
Well-
adults. I mean, it was more of like not wanting to disappoint my mom.
Well, it was more like when you think about exams, because like my niece had to take an entrance exam to get into a Catholic high school, and she was getting sick because like she's taking a lot of advanced classes. She's doing a lot, and the pressure of it. And I did think back to when I was in high school because I did take it seriously. I wanted to graduate. I wanted to do well, but there was also this idea that like high school is everything. Like this determines whether your life is a success or a failure. At least that's kind of how I feel sometimes it is.
I tried really hard not to do anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't
because,
part of any clubs.
like,
I
that's-
didn't do anything.
Yeah, I didn't do anything.
It
I
was
went
not
home.
like a good thing to succeed or do well.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I still did well, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know I wasn't really part of any extracurricular activities because also like the high school I went to, and I know I've spoken about this too many times, the situation was not the best. So for me, it was more like I wanted to get in, get out, and then get back home because it wasn't the best environment. So I think that's sort of what also determined what I did and did not do when I was there. There were a lot of problems, but there were kids that were involved. I think it was also me where it was more like I just want to get in and get home. You know, because there were kids that were involved in extracurriculars and they enjoyed the high school experience and they did very well. So I think it's an aspect of my own personality where it's like I just like, sometimes I want to do like the bare minimum and then sometimes like I try to do too much.
well, it's I
So-
think for high school, it's for most people, it's not like their greatest time of their life. Usually, that's people enjoy college significantly more because then you can
That
be
was-
yourself. You don't have to lie about who you are.
And I think
or have like a
I
mask.
lie every time.
That was me. I hated high school and I much preferred college.
Yeah, no, I loved college.
I didn't, college for me was like I just wanted to get my degree and get out. And I think it's also
That's
because
how I'm kind of just
I don't do
going,
well
"No,
in an
I'm not-
academic
I'm not-
setting.
Like, I don't know you people. I'm like, we'll be friends in the class. Outside of this, I'm hanging out.
High school was
You
fine.
know me.
College was fun. Oh,
I didn't
that's
mind
my
high
thing.
school. I
Yeah,
kind of knew
it's-
everybody, and it was fine. I didn't really like create waves or anything like that, and I wasn't significant. But I also was like, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I don't think I had any like massive beefs. You know.
I only had one massive beef, and that was it. And that was like a short-lived beef because I there was a kid in our friend group who threatened to like off one of my friends.
Oh.
And I thought it was a joke at first because he was like, oh, I'm going to kill him. And it's like, haha. And normally you would like, you know, like sometimes you jokingly like, oh, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was going through the day in school and he seriously meant it. And at one point I looked at my friend, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so I ended up talking to somebody and they had the cops escort him from the classroom. And the teacher assured me that he wasn't going to be able to see me because I had like the vice principal's door here and there was another door here.
But he saw you.
And he came down this way and he caught a glimpse of me and I was like, what? Her next.
That's terrifying.
Well, and he ended up going to juvie for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And the girl who I had been friends with, who we, like, as freshmen, integrated into this group. She was like, I understand what you did and why you did it. She's like, but I am mad at you for it. She's like, because he was like, she liked it. And they were an item for a little while.
You
And
can't
so,
be.
Always loves the
but
bad
she was
boy.
like, but I am mad at you and I really don't want to talk to you and I don't want to like see you. And I was like, fair enough. I was like, okay, totally fine.
Very intense.
But everything kind of like dissipated after a little while and
Yeah.
it was whatever.
See, no, nothing that.
No.
That was the only
Yeah.
beef I had. And that was like sophomore year and
But
then
is
it just
that
kind
a
of
beef
went.
or a legitimate concern?
Yeah,
It was a
you-
concern and it was a beef with her, but that was
Oh,
good.
okay.
So,
Yeah. High school was fine. It's not like the greatest time of your life. And it feels like your whole world at the time.
you're
Yeah.
figuring yourself out, and that's what it is. You're trying new things, even if the school tries to force you into other friend groups. They tried that. They had a day where, like, you know how when you go to lunch, you sit with, like, a particular group of your friends that are
You
there
have
with
any-
you. We
yeah.
did have cliques in my school.
Yeah.
So they would be like, why don't you guys, over the intercom, they're like, today's, like, diversity day. And they were like, we want you to, like, go out there, maybe sit with people you normally wouldn't sit with.
That's really strange.
Yeah, that's
Nobody
weird.
would do that at all. We were like,
Occasionally in middle school, they'd bring in this weird Texan guy, and we'd have to have quiet lunches.
What would the
Why?
Texan guy do?
He was the lunch monitor, and they only brought him in under like extenuating circumstances.
That's so
Oh my
weird.
God, was he like an operative?
Yeah.
Did he like
How
Like,
many
neutralize?
times
okay,
did
so
you guys
it
break
was-
your windows?
The school had the stupidest setup because the lunchroom was right across from the principal's office. So the principal would
That's not fair.
hear rowdy middle schoolers at lunch and get mad and be like, guys, seriously, calm down.
What are
It's
you
like,
doing?
buddy,
What are you doing?
get a different office.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they'd send in this Texan guy, who was actually pretty chill. Sometimes he'd sub for other classes, and he was
Walker,
really
Texas
cool
Ranger
then.
coming.
But he'd come in with a giant belt buckle, and if you spoke, he'd get mad at you.
Oh, like
That's so interesting. We just
Sounds like the
sat on the
principal
floor
from
if we didn't
Breakfast with
leave
the
campus. We always left for lunch.
Did anyone have in
I
their
did
life
sometimes, but
a teacher like, I'm sorry, what is her name? Perky? Did anyone
Miss
have a
Perky.
Miss Perky in their
The
high
guidance
school?
counselor?
Oh no.
No, I feel like
No.
that's a lawsuit waiting to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, that is.
But
a lawsuit.
I just love when she's
My
like
guidance
writing.
counselor was
I hope
not
she
that
doesn't have a
helpful
job
anyway.
anymore.
But
I should look at my school's
Well,
guidance
no,
counselors.
my guidance counselor told my mom straight to her face that I wasn't college material.
That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
My guidance counselor was just like off doing whatever. He was like a hippie.
Yeah,
He wrote my recommendation letter for college, but
that's nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mine talked really slow. And she really didn't know anything about me. And so when it came to career counseling, I said, I want to go into animation. And she was just like, why don't you try a North Carolina school? I'm like, North Carolina doesn't have any animation school. Have any? None. I was looking at Full Sail in Florida, and I was like, I had just done a tour, and I was like, no. And she was like, well, what about a school in North Carolina? And I was just like, no.
It's awful.
Woman. She was not helpful.
But I kind of admire Miss Perky because like she has a goal of finishing that novel.
And she gets her ideas from students.
Yeah.
Like Kat. Oh god, his engorged bratwurst. Yeah. She calls the secretary in to look up synonyms for engorged.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'll get right on that. And
Yeah.
I was also saying, you have a computer in front of you. Interesting.
This might have been before the days of like Google though.
Yeah.
90.
It was Ask Jeeves.
Oh, okay.
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah,
oh
Ask
yeah, I
Jeeves.
remember Ask Jeeves.
Can you imagine asking Jeeves for a synonym for engorged though?
I can't imagine asking a coworker
No.
for a synonym.
Your
synonym
employee
for-
though, like she's her assistant.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I liked the side characters and the
Yeah.
teachers. I liked Miss Perky and
Mr.
Mr. Morgan.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about is like the movie pokes fun at itself and these classic tropes, but also the adults are just as ridiculous as the teenagers.
Yeah.
I like how when she agrees with his assignment, he goes, get out.
I know.
And she doesn't even, she's like,
Perkies.
she's like, gets out.
That was one of my favorite of the bloopers, is where he's screaming at her to go to Perky's and he keeps messing up the line.
And I also love, like, he calls Joey Chachi. Now, I know there's a reference to something, but I can't
Happy
get...
Days.
Happy
Yeah.
Days, okay, alright.
Fonzie's like nephew, cousin, I don't know.
He calls him
Scott
Shaft,
Baio.
too.
Yeah.
I just love how much he like hates this kid. Like, yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hysterical.
It's crazy to be a high school teacher and just your
Yeah.
enemies are just like 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Well, it's most of the kids in his class are at least like 18.
They're about 25, 30.
Well, it was always like a crazy thing if a teacher swore in one of their lectures.
Oh my
It was
god.
always. But then, like, the older you get, the more comfortable they get with you, and that's kind of how I saw this a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Valerga, who almost hit me with the golf club, that one, he said the F word almost like every other word some days. Just
Wow.
depended. He was the golf coach and a football coach. Because that's who teaches history in high
Yeah.
school. It's the football
So
coach.
weird. Can we also talk about the archery teacher?
Oh, yeah, where she shoots him. And then... Yeah.
He gets shot in the coolie. But also when Kat just flashes him, and
Yeah.
I'm like...
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's
Why
right
did he
ballsy.
not get in trouble for that?
Well, to be honest, she took him unaware. It's not like he flashed her.
Yeah.
She flashed
He
him.
stared for a while.
That's
To be fair, though, if someone flashed me, you know...
Ah!
That's one of my favorite lines in the movie, though, is at the end. It's like, it's not every day you find a girl who will flash someone to
But
get
that's
you out
how
of
you know
detention.
it's true love.
Yeah.
You know, and
True.
She
Yeah.
flashes.
to get him out of detention.
Yeah.
And
She's
that's
a
after
rock.
the bleachers. So, do you want to talk about favorite scenes?
Yeah, because I'm gonna be quick because I have to go back down to reference.
Should we skip to ratings? Because we've talked about a good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what rating system were we going with?
Pregnancy bellies?
Pregnancy
Alright.
belly.
Out
4
of
pregnancy
what?
bellies.
Out of 5.
Okay.
4 pregnancy bellies.
4, interesting.
I like this film. I really.
But not enough for 5.
All right, fine. 5 pregnancy
No,
bellies.
but she can have 4. But why is it 4? I'm just...
Yeah. Yeah, why 4? Why not 5? Why 3? Why not 3?
I know it's hard to get me to go to the full 5 too. On any movie though.
I don't know. Maybe that rating was too arbitrary. I'll rephrase. 5. Because I really do enjoy this film. I was smiling the entire time I was watching it. It's just such. It may have problematic elements, but it's so 90s, and it just reminds me of like something like a simpler time with like film, and it's like really just enjoying itself. And I love the characters. I love Heath Ledger. I think that he and Julia had such great chemistry.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking that he's no longer with us, but and if we are doing favorite scenes, it's the bleacher scene.
Yeah. So, this is one of my favorite movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
Rom-coms are my thing, but I think with this it does follow that classic formula, but it has its own identity
Yeah.
and breaks the mold a little bit, but it's also still pulls from its source material. It's a 5 pregnancy belly for me,
Yeah.
always.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think one of my favorite scenes is when they're in the bar and they're trying to tell Heath Ledger that he's not a pretty boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because Julia Stiles, Kat has the poster of Jared Leto, which I think it's hilarious that they both played the Joker, even though Jared Leto is terrible. But
He's a cult leader. What do you want from
Yeah.
him?
and the soundtrack, though, alone is incredible. This movie introduced me to Letters to Cleo, which is just an incredible band. It's just very 90s in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I'm hitting it with a 3.5 pregnancy bellies. I don't know how you're cutting that down the middle, but somehow.
Oh boy, that poor child.
Oh,
Poor mother.
It's a half sibling.
King Solomon style. But, yeah, I mean, this is a super fun movie. Like, the soundtrack is banging. There was one Air song in here called Sexy Boy that was transcendent. Yeah, favorite scene? I gotta be different, so I can't do any of the big ones just mentioned. I really liked when he's just taking care of her after she gets concussed.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just really sweet and like, yeah.
It is, yeah. That's sweet because it shows his character, and I think it goes to like he defies the expectation. I just thought it was really sweet how he immediately just gets her out of there, and yeah.
Also, I just want to note the cinematography in this movie goes way harder than they had to. The same guy shot Scream and a bunch of David Cronenberg movies, so you can tell he's just having fun spinning that camera around, doing dolly zooms.
That's like when they're in the bookstore and either one of them are on either side. The camera's following them. Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5, Pregnancy Belly. When I think teen movie, I think 10 Things I Hate About You. It's the first one that comes to mind all the time.
Yeah.
It's a great one, and watching it now, it's been a long time since I watched it, but watching it now, I think I really had an appreciation for just Heath Ledger's presence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just really scene stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite scene. Actually, I think I really liked when Kat backed up into Joey's car.
Oh, yeah.
That's
great.
Yeah.
And when the father goes, like, insurance, he goes, "I'll say I had a seizure." It says, "Insurance doesn't cover seizures."
Yeah.
Just say I had a seizure.
Well, mine is a 5 out of 5. Fake pregnancy bellies. This is my jam through and through. It's just, if I am going to watch a teenage rom-com movie, I will pick 10 Things I Hate About You over any of the other ones. My favorite scene, I probably just mentioned it already, but it's when Michael gives Mandela, thank you, the Renaissance dress and asks her to prom in that way. It's really sweet, and it's what I wish would have happened to me when I was in high school. But
In high school.
yeah.
I'm probably have to go the Joe route, and I'm giving it like a 3.5 pregnancy bellies, just because
Think of the carnage.
it's one of those things where it's another teen comedy where they start the movie by, guy comes from the God knows where, and he's automatically introduced to every single clique that's in the school. At some point, I'm like, I get it. I get it. It's like Mean Girls did it. Every other teen comedy, it's always some guy coming from another area, and it's one of the things that bugs me. It's like, I had a friend who came from being homeschooled, and that's not a thing that I did for her. I was like, here's my friends, or like, here's some people, and then she would ask me, who is this person? But I would never be like, so, over there, you got the popular kids. You got the jocks over there. I've never in my life. It's an unrealistic expectation that I have of a high school movie, and I get it. It's the way of like helping the audience understand, but at the same time,
specific beef.
Yeah.
I do have a beef with it.
So early on, but like
It's such a boring trope for high school movies for me. I'm like, I get it. The cliques, they're there. I don't need to be introduced to every single one. This kid didn't need to be introduced to every single one. I also feel really bad because he was kind of thrust into things really early on, and I'm like, this kid just got there. Let him have some classes. Like, take him to like a cool like dessert place. I don't know. But I do think it's like iconic, and there are so many fun things about the movie. It's not that I don't enjoy the movie. I think it's a very fun movie. I also think that they all look
positive
really old.
Rating, Amanda.
Yeah. 3.5. Yeah, no.
I'm giving it a thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up. I just don't want people thinking that I'm like I hated it. No, I grew up with this movie. Just the first 5 minutes. I also don't like out of all like. I don't like this like also. They look like they should not be in high school. Like everybody looks like, except for maybe Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He looks like he belongs there.
I think Julia Stiles and her
17.
sister passed for high schoolers.
Well, she was 17 when she filmed this film.
Julia Stiles.
That's the time you like graduate. It's like 17, 18.
Well, she was a senior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Julia Stiles' character does a really good job. She has the face of like a stone cold biatch. Like just looking at her, you can tell like, oh god, she is this character. Heath Ledger really makes the movie. Yeah. He's such a charismatic bad boy. He's not really a bad boy. He's just a misunderstood boy. Hence is why we're always like, I can fix him. But this wasn't a movie where she was like, I can fix him. So, I don't know. 3.5 for me just because I enjoy the movie. It's not my favorite thing in the world. And rom-coms just are not really my thing. But it is enjoyable. It is something I will put on if I see it on TV or something like that. I'll be like, okay, I'll sit down and watch this.
Why wouldn't Bianca get rides home with her sister?
It's embarrassing.
Wait,
her
at
sister
the
has a bad
party,
reputation.
or-
No, just in general.
Oh yeah, no, it's embarrassing.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just.
Her sister's the shrew.
Yeah.
I say ride home is a ride home.
Not in high school.
Lou, a ride home is a ride home.
So
That's what has been said about so many murders across the U.S. A ride home's a ride home. No.
So who would like to take us out? Oh, me. Okay, great. All right. So thank you all for joining us for our discussion of 10 Things I Hate About You. Let us know what you think about the movie. Is it one of your favorite? How many pregnancy bellies would you give this film? Please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye.